However, wide receiver Devontae Adams is out with a knee injury. And on defense, Pro Bowl cornerback Sam Shields returns after missing 4 games with a concussion. For the Cardinals, starting linebacker Alex Okafor was put on the non-football injury list after injuring his toe over the bye week. He'll be replaced by Kareem Martin. Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. The team basically very healthy. Bruce Arians has done a tremendous job, longtime assistant coach with several teams, including the Pittsburgh Steelers, when they won 2 Super Bowls in his 3rd year. And Mike McCarthy has taken his Packers in his 10 years at the helm to the playoffs 8 times, including the last 7 years in succession. Green Bay won the toss. They elect to defer. Mason Crosby ready to kick off and get this game started. J.J. Nelson, who was the fastest guy at the combine, he ran a 4.2840, is back to take it along with Britton Golden, and Golden takes the ball from the end zone out to the 22-yard line. The Cardinals will start from there. Let's take a look at their offense.
Carson Palmer, USC.
David Johnson, Northern Iowa. Larry Fitzgerald, University of Pittsburgh.
Michael Floyd, Notre Dame.
John Brown, Pitt State.
Darren Fells, UC Irvine.
Jared Veldier, Hillsdale College.
Mike Upati, Idaho.
Lyle Senline, Texas. Ted Larson, NC State.
Bobby Massey, Ole Miss.
The Cardinals, and here they start with the tailback Johnson. They will use a lot of empty backfield sets. And the question is, how will the Green Bay defensive backs match up all night against the receivers? They start on the ground where the rookie David Johnson picks up a couple. It'll be 2nd down and 8. During the regular season, they led the league in yards per game, 408, and they were 2nd in the league in points per game, 30.6. The Cardinals in the top 10 in almost every important offensive category, and in several of them in the top 5.
March 52, march the right, march the right.
Ball at the 22, 2nd down and 9. Stack 2 receivers to the left. That's Fitzgerald coming in motion to the wing on the right and looking that way, and the pass is too high over Larry's head. Clay Matthews that time blitzing, putting the heat on, and it's 3rd down and 9.
Well, until we see otherwise, Carson Palmer with that tape on his finger. We saw him injure that finger against Philadelphia. We watched in practice the other day. A few throws got away, and the first one here sails a bit. He feels confident with what's going on with that finger, but that throw said otherwise.
That happened 4 weeks ago. He didn't miss any time. In fact, he came back that night after he been hurt in the game in Philadelphia. Here comes the blitz again. Matthews coming around the outside, fired over the middle, and it is almost picked off by Sam Shields, who's missed the last 4 games with a concussion. He was in that protocol. The pass intended for Michael Floyd, and it's 4th down.
There we go. Michael Floyd right there going to come down, and Sam Shields, what a difference maker he is. We're already seeing now the Green Bay Packers, a willingness now to bring some pressure we haven't seen the last few weeks without Sam Shields. Man-to-man is back.
Drew Butler to kick. Micah Hyde is backing up. There's a flag down. And Micah Hyde from the 28 coming to the outside, gets around the corner, and then dives forward to the 47-yard line. Flag came down at the snap. So for the moment, we'll wait for the call from the referee tonight, who is Clete Blakeman.
During the kick, holding, receiving team number 51. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. First down, Green Bay.
Nate Palmer, and that will back them up. And let's take a look at the Green Bay starters.
Aaron Rodgers, Butte Community College.
Eddie Lacy, Alabama.
John Kuhn, Shippensburg University.
Randall Cobb, Kentucky.
James Jones, San Jose State.
Jared Aberderis, Wisconsin.
David Bakhtiari, University of Colorado, Boulder.
Josh Seddon, Central Florida.
Corey Lindsley, The Ohio State.
TJ Lang, Birmingham Brother Rice.
Brian Balaga, Iowa.
So Michelle talking about that offensive line getting back together. They've used 3 different starting left tackles over the last 3 games. but tonight they get Bakhtiari back. Eddie Lacy is the running back, and Rodgers will start in the pistol from the 17. And a flag goes down. There was motion up front. And that will be a false start, taking it back 5 and making it a 1st and 15.
False start. Offense. 71. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Josh Sitton, their Pro Bowl left guard.
You always see a lot of head movement from the center, the quarterback. They try and coordinate it with this hard count. Try and make people jump. You'll see Corey Lindsley down. His head pops up. Other people move. But in that case, it looked like Josh Sitton did a little flinch of his own.
From the 12 now. Again lining up in the pistol. Lacy again, good hold, and he gets the penalty yardage back up to the 17. Rashad Johnson makes the tackle. Aaron Rodgers, he's had some spectacular years, and he's going without a huddle here. This was not one of them, at least in terms of his ratings, but there you can see a rating of almost 100 in postseason. To the outside, that is dropped by Jared Abbrederis, who we think might be the X factor tonight, but not on that particular play.
Yeah, the XL factor on that one, and he is a guy that's going to have to play big. They have a lot of receivers hurt. Of course, you know about Jordy Nelson. Devontae Adams going to miss this one with the knee, and so that means a little circle around number 84. We'll see what he can do. Big hopes for the Packers with him.
3rd and 10. Nine Cardinals along the line, and Rodgers off his back foot throws incomplete. Intended for Abbrederis, and it'll be 4th down. So each team begins with a 3 and out.
Look at this, all the way across the line here. They are going to bring pressure in every single gap. Not a bad job by Eddie Lacy picking up that pressure, but both offenses just a little shaky. First time out, playoff action, just a little different.
Tim Mastay to do the punting. Patrick Peterson to receive it. It's a line drive kick, and Peterson fields at his own 47 and then gets taken down from behind at the 41-yard line. Dimitri Goodson makes the stop, but a short field for Palmer when he comes back with the offense. This divisional playoff game being brought to you by Verizon. Join a better network because better matters. By State Farm, it pays to double check. Talk to your agent today. By McDonald's, celebrating the NFL playoffs with all-day breakfast. And by Chevrolet, find new roads. Well, those were some scenes from that insane playoff game in 2009, won by Arizona against Green Bay in overtime, 51-45, highest scoring postseason game in NFL history. So Palmer now from the gun. 2 minutes into the game, pressure put on again, and he swings it out to David Johnson, and the rookie with a 12-yard gain, and the game's initial first down taken down by Sam Shields.
Clinton-Dix going to come on a safety blitz over here, and David Johnson, pretty smart guy for a young rookie. Instead of trying to block 2, he just lets them both go and sneaks out in the flat. And I can tell you, as a defensive coordinator, that makes you a little hesitant to try that one again.
David Johnson started as the backup to Chris Johnson for most of the season, and Chris got hurt, and David took over, and he has been great over the last 5 weeks of the season. Here goes the Northern Iowa rookie who was drafted in the 3rd round for a gain of 3. Let's take a look at the Green Bay defense.
B.J. Raji, Boston College. Mike Daniels, Iowa. Mike Neal, Purdue University.
Jake Ryan, Michigan.
Clay Matthews, USC.
Julius Peppers, North Carolina.
Casey Hayward, Vanderbilt.
Morgan Burnett, Georgia Tech. Clinton-Dix, the University of Alabama.
Sam Shields, the U.
Demarius Randall, Arizona State.
Randall, a rookie. Green Bay, at least at the outset, showing they're going to pressure Palmer tonight. 2nd down and 7. Now a conventional 4-man rush, and that is caught by Larry Fitzgerald, a little bit short of the first down. Casey Hayward makes the stop. Fitzgerald, a certain Hall of Famer someday, 12th year in the league, a spectacular year. He caught over 100 passes this season. And when it comes to postseason play, few better in history in the NFL. He has been off the charts.
Pro Bowl 9 different times now, and if you're wondering, Jerry Rice at 13 to put that in perspective, but it has been a sensational year. There was some question. A lot of people thought the Cardinals were making a mistake by re-signing Larry Fitzgerald. He had a big contract, but boy, did he deliver.
Only caught 109 passes this season. And now the Packers only had 10 guys on the field before a 3rd down and 1, so they take a timeout. Speaking of Larry Fitzgerald, some of the things that he has done in his 12th season in the league, over 1,200 yards, only 3 drops all year, 9 touchdowns. They're playing him a lot in the slot. He catches almost everything. As you can see, the best rate in the NFL, 28 catches per on-target drop since 2004 when he came in as a first-round pick out of the University of Pittsburgh. But this year they're moving him inside a lot, and he's done a fantastic job blocking, and he really is the face of the Cardinals.
Yeah, he essentially became their Hines Ward. He has only enhanced his Hall of Fame credentials with what he has done here, blocking and playing that slot receiver. Amazing, a guy at the end of his career could make that kind of adjustment.
Over 1,000 career catches. After the timeout now, Johnson swinging to the left side, and he picks up the first down at the 18-yard line. Mike Yapati helping to lead the way. First down.
It's a pretty nice play there by Jake Ryan, the young linebacker who kind of got picked on a little bit the last time these two teams played. They isolated Jake Ryan in coverage with David Johnson and eventually had to change off of that matchup, bringing Micah Hyde, a nickel safety, in to try and get into coverage. So we'll see if they can isolate Jake Ryan in coverage with David Johnson in this one.
Come up with 2 tight ends here. That's one of them, Fells, setting up on the right side. And Palmer fires into traffic, and that's incomplete. Pass intended for John Brown. Sam Shields is there for the coverage. 2nd and 10.
Well, I tell you, this looks like a different team out there with Sam Shields. Much more aggressive. We're seeing a little more blitzing, just a 4-man rush here. But we get the matchup on the outside against the speedster, John Brown. And he is right there with him. It is, you know, you talked a little bit to Dom Capers, the defensive coordinator, and he said, I'm going to call one game if I get Sam Shields, and I'm going to call another, mostly 4-man rushes, if he's not out there.
Shields missing the last 3 regular season games and last week's game in the concussion protocol. Johnson is taken out of bounds there by Clay Matthews, and that will set up a 3rd and 9.
You know, the Arizona Cardinals offensively are a team that really want to get everybody out in the pass pattern, and so that means each of these 5 offensive linemen basically are going to be responsible for one-on-one blocks down the field. And so we'll see. There's some good pass rushers on the Green Bay Packers on the other side, so it's not going to be tough to analyze this game. Who's beating who out there?
Bruce Arians, head coach and play caller, as is Mike McCarthy these days. 3rd and 9. Palmer stepping up, feeling the pressure, and then throws, and that will be caught, but short of the first down. J.J. Nelson makes the catch. The pass in Shields' direction. Sam is all over the place, covering everybody, but it's 4th down.
Ball was just a little late getting there. Sometimes a veteran receiver will really push that thing well beyond that first down marker. You can see where the catch was made, right about the first down marker, but I don't think there's any question here. Bruce Arians says we're going.
Coaches aggressively, play calls aggressively. What's he dialed up here on 4th and 1? They give it to Johnson, and he'll pick up the first down. They put Stephon Taylor in the backfield as well to help lead the way for him. 1st and goal.
Well, you got to get that guy blocked right there if you're going to pick up this first down. B.J. Raji, and that's a good double team there. The center, Lyle Sinline, Ted Larson off the right side, got just enough movement to pick it up.
9th play of the drive, which started at the Green Bay 42-yard line. 8.5 to go in a scoreless opening quarter. he gets decked, and that's Nick Perry, with Palmer never seeing number 53 coming in from the left side. And he's fortunate to have held on to the ball. 2nd and goal.
Nick Perry had 2.5 sacks in the game against Washington. Here he comes, and I don't know if David Johnson was supposed to pick him up or they were supposed to slide that way, but you cannot let that guy come absolutely free. And for Carson Palmer, early in this game, that was the kind of shot that Aaron Rodgers took when these two teams got together last time.
And the ball did come loose. He pounces on it. 2nd and goal. Swings it to the outside. Johnson, off a Fitzgerald block, gets the ball to the 8-yard line. So 3rd down and goal halfway through the quarter.
Yeah, this is the old Green Bay play here. It's sort of the running sweep where they're going to throw a pass and the wide receivers don't even turn around and look. They're just going to block down the field, swing it out to the running back and see what happens. But well played on the outside that time by Casey Hayward.
And meanwhile, Raji comes back to the bench here. The big nose tackle. Troy Guion comes in along with Dayton Jones, and it's 3rd down and goal. Only a 3-man rush, and Palmer to the back corner of the end zone, and it is caught. Michael Floyd for the touchdown. Back corner of the end zone, perfectly thrown. Floyd gets both feet down. We'll check it out here.
Possession, one,
drags the right one.
2. There's a little turf flying, and that is going to be good. Looked like Sam Shields reacted just a little bit to John Brown right in front of him. Morgan Burnett tried to cover it up, but to no avail. Big receiver and perfectly thrown football. So Carson Palmer, after a less than Carson Palmer type throw, his first one, has been red hot since.
Catanzaro, who has missed 5 extra points during the regular season, so nothing automatic, to try to make it 7-zip, which he does. So they start at the Green Bay 42. They get in 11 plays. Floyd into the end zone, and Arizona leads 7-0. Don't miss a moment of the game with NBC Sports Live Extra. Take the game with you anywhere. Watch live on your laptop, tablet, and connected TVs. A couple hours north of here, the spectacular Grand Canyon, the Grand Canyon State, Arizona, on this Saturday night. University of Phoenix Stadium, 7-0. The Cardinals taking the early lead. Janis takes it 3 yards deep. Escapes a tackle at the 10, and then is taken down by the kicker himself, Catanzaro, going all the way down the field to spill him at about the 23. Back comes Rodgers, down 7-0. Left of the screen is Ty Matthew, who got hurt in the Philadelphia game in December, had a great season, underwent surgery last week. In the middle is Michael Bidwell, the president of the team, and off his left shoulder to your right there is Steve Kahn, who's done a masterful job for a franchise right now that everything's working here. They're selling out. You haven't had an empty seat since the stadium was built. They got to the Super Bowl in 08, and right now trying to do it again. From the 25, Rodgers gives the ball to Lacy, and he goes nowhere up to the 26-yard line, and we 2nd down and 9.
Well, the Green Bay Packers did such a great job in their first playoff game against Washington with their tempo, and they got it going. And from Bruce Arians' standpoint, he said, there's not any tempo if you don't get a first down, and he's right. If you try to go this fast and you don't pick up first downs, it does nothing but hurt your defense.
Using the pistol on most of their plays to this point. Rodgers, a little shovel toss, and that is caught there by Richard Rodgers, and he gets to the 31-yard line. Marcus Golden blitzing that time. It'll be 3rd and 4.
One of the things the Cardinals wanted to do is bring some of these slot cornerbacks, because part of their strategy is trying to keep Aaron Rodgers in the pocket. They don't want to see all the scrambling that he's noted for.
3rd and 4 from the 31. Card showing blitz. but they backed off, and that's knocked away. Tony Jefferson makes the play, read it perfectly, bats it away from Richard Rodgers, the tight end, the intended receiver, and it's a 3-and-out again.
You just wonder if Dwight Freeney matched up over here against David Bakhtiari in his first game back after the ankle injury. Wasn't enough to make Aaron Rodgers get that ball out a little quicker there, not wanting to test that matchup just yet.
Patrick Peterson, 5 years in the league and 5 Pro Bowls. Of course, he's a fabulous cornerback and also runs back, kicks pretty well too. Mastay with Peterson going for the fair catch and making it at the 34-yard line. So a pair of 3-and-outs for Green Bay, and Arizona with the ball in a 7-0 lead.
Against the Philadelphia Eagles, Carson Palmer dislocated that finger, the bone on top of bone, and they had to pop it back in on this throw right there. And he said he was fortunate in the next game against Green Bay that he didn't have to throw it very often, but he throwing afterwards was really struggling just keeping that finger on the ball. He was literally throwing the ball out with 4 fingers and really losing a lot of the accuracy that he had. Then they put this different tape job on there, and he's back to throwing it with 5 fingers again.
It happened 4 weeks ago. You just saw Andre Ellington came into the game as the number 2 back behind David Johnson now, and picking up 5. It'll be 2nd down and 5.
47.
Palmer, 13th year in the league, and almost everybody in agreement, his best. And that's Ellington for a gain of 1, and we go to Michelle.
You guys were talking about Carson Palmer, and you take a look at these images on the left there. That's the tape job he had for Green Bay. It was too much, so they switched it over. His athletic trainer, Tom Reed, devised this tape job to help prevent hyperextension of the knuckle while still allowing enough strength and motion of the finger to throw. That red tape is more flexible. The white tape is not, so that change helped quite a bit.
All right, Michelle, and that pass to Floyd, it couldn't have been any better. Tape, no tape. However, 3rd and 4, and Palmer slings it over the middle, and that's incomplete. Good coverage right there. John Brown, Casey Hayward had him locked up, and it's 4th down.
Yeah, and you're just seeing a very aggressive approach on the part of Dom Capers. They definitely now are trying to get in the face of these receivers a little bit more and allow the pass rushers to get there. So far, that has been a successful formula. Forgot how big a factor Sam Shields was.
Drew Butler sends it toward the near side, bounces at the 25, takes a great Arizona bounce and goes out of bounds at around the 5-yard line. So Micah Hyde came over, had to let it go, and Rodgers will start deep in his own territory. A new show coming your way beginning January 28th on NBC. Rob Lowe returning to NBC. You, Me, and the Apocalypse is the name of the show, premiering Thursday, January 28th on NBC. Gene Starks comes in as the running back. Lacy was in for the first 2 series. And they start from the 5 after Butler's punt. Thanks to a very good bounce, goes 55 yards. Rodgers has time, and then he shoots a dart over the middle. Gain of 3 for Starks. Let's take a look at the Arizona defense.
Frosty Rucker, USC.
Rodney Gunter, Delaware State.
Calais Campbell, the U.
Marcus Golden, Mizzou made after.
Dale Buchanan, Washington State.
Kevin Minner, LSU. Kareem Martin, North Carolina.
Patrick Peterson, LSU.
Rashad Johnson, Alabama.
Tony Jefferson, Oklahoma.
Gerard Powers, Auburn.
Fun guy to watch is number 20, Buchanan, who's only around 210 pounds, but plays the linebacker spot. And this is Starks picking up Green Bay's first down, and he's tackled by Buchanan.
Dayon Buchanan right here is a smaller linebacker, about 210 pounds, and John Kuhn, the fullback, comes through and nice lead block to get him going. They have switched out of their 1-back, 1 tight end set and now going with 2 backs in the backfield. No tight ends.
Kuhn seeing more and more action. He's in there here, helping to pave the way for Starks, who takes it to the 22-yard line. Kuhn's been around a long time, and of course, every time he gets the ball, you can be out of the country, and you can hear the Kuhn. Everybody knows when he has it. Very valuable guy, fullback, short yardage guy, and they love him obviously in the locker room.
And Bruce Arians, when he was with Pittsburgh, was the one that recommended him to the Steelers. They had to cut him, but eventually he told them, hey, listen, good things are going to happen to you, and it did.
2nd and 4, Rodgers, and it's dropped at the 39-yard line. That's Randall Cobb, their leading receiver this season. Cobb in his 5th year out of Kentucky had it, couldn't hold on.
Yeah, working against Justin Bethel here, and this is one that could not be thrown any better than that. Now it sets up one of those 3rd downs that gets the crowd going, gets the pass rushers going, and we shall see. This is when, in the last matchup between these two teams, almost every situation like this was a back shoulder throw to whoever Justin Bethel, number 28, was guarding.
Yeah, they targeted Bethel 14 times in that game. Completed 7. He did have an interception. And Rodgers will extend the play as he so brilliantly does, and then takes off and slides to a stop up at the 44-yard line. So on a 3rd and 4, nothing to his left, a little check to his right, and then he just takes off, and that's a gain of 21.
Out here to the left, Justin Bethel was sitting all over that back shoulder throw. I think 14 was enough, Al. He had seen that enough, and so Aaron Rodgers forced to pull it down, and I'm sure that helps get him in the game.
Minute and 40 to go in the quarter. Play action, pressure on, set up a screen as Starks has to reach down, makes the catch, and gets the ball out near midfield. Jefferson making the tackle. That's a gain of 6. It'll be 2nd and 4. Caught it twice.
Interesting. Let's see if it ever got close to the ground. There's an almoster, and then caught it just before the ground. So key on 1st down is what Aaron Rodgers was talking about. Have to move the chains, have to move that sticks. No 2nd and 10, 3rd and 10.
2nd and 4, Starks again, and he runs into a pile. Nothing happening there, and that will set up a 3rd and 4.
Well, you're going to see some funky formations out of the Green Bay Packers. What do you call that, Al? The hump formation, I think it was?
That's what he did. Meanwhile, there's a flag thrown. Rodgers going to the line. Now you got another flag thrown downfield. So one at the outside, and now another one on the near side of the field. So you had 3 different flags being thrown. One at the snap, one downfield.
What a catch!
Yeah, unbelievable. Now what about the penalties? And now you have one on the near side as well. So 3 different flags, and it'll take a while to sort this out.
That is one of the great catches I've seen. I believe he caught that with one hand.
Well, we see that every week now.
Watch this. He's going to hold off the other hand, stick out one hand. Does it ever hit the ground? It does not. Incredible.
Yeah, but it's going to come back because everybody is marching back downfield. Bethel is there. So Cobb, who drops one that's thrown between his numbers, go figure. And then he goes and he makes this catch, but it's going to come back. It's a good chance when there's 3 flags, you're not going to win all of them. Here's Blakeman.
There are fouls against both teams on the play. We have an illegal shift, offense number 75. Defense 12 men on the field. Illegal use of hands to the face, defense number 44. All those penalties offset where we play 3rd down.
Well, that's Rodgers, and he does that so often. He tries to get the other guys either offside or too many guys on the field. He does, but the problem was they had an illegal shift.
Yeah, and there's the 12th man on the field, and Aaron Rodgers so good at trapping that guy. And the minute you get trapped, you know what's coming. He's going to throw it as far as he can. And then Balaga wasn't set on the other side, and so it all comes back.
After all that, meanwhile, Cobb needs some attention on the bench, so he is out.
They can't lose another receiver.
No, they have Jeff Janis in the game right now. We're back to a 3rd and 4. And Rodgers again rolling and extending, and the catch is made at the 40-yard line. Jared Abbrederis making the grab, and that's a 1st down.
Yeah, you hit on it. Aaron Rodgers, he loves this guy. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Abbrederis catch a bunch.
Into the quarter, 7-0. Cardinals is the divisional playoff game on NBC. Back after these messages.
That's how you do it, baby.
Aerial coverage tonight being brought to you by Geico as you look at downtown Phoenix. And now back to Glendale. Up the road, University of Phoenix Stadium. Second quarter about to begin. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya. Divisional playoff game, 7-0 Cardinals in the first half for Green Bay at the Cardinal 40-yard line. This drive began back at the Green Bay 5. And Rodgers will swing it to Starks. And he gets taken out of bounds by Powers. And let's go to Michelle.
Randall Cobb just went to the Packers locker room. He was on the sidelines being surrounded by a medical staff for quite some time. They were working to take his mouth guard out. It's very tough to know right now, and we haven't gotten anything official from the Packers. He wanted to make sure that his family saw him as he left the field, and he gave them a thumbs up saying, "I'm all right."
All right, thank you, Michelle. There he was being taken off on the cart. Keep checking on that. Second down and 11. At the 41-yard line. And Rodgers with good time and a lot of protection and deep downfield. And it is incomplete. Jeff Janis, the intended receiver, and again going Justin Bethel's way. So they pick on Bethel as a cornerback. Bethel's going to go to the Pro Bowl. He's going to the Pro Bowl as a special teamer.
Watch Justin Bethel hang on this inside receiver and almost gave Janis too much room on the outside. Recovered late. The ball was slightly underthrown and allowed Bethel to get back.
So 3rd and 11 at the 41-yard line.
Need 5 or 6 for a field goal shot.
Buchanan looking like he's going to blitz, but then he backs off. Rodgers gets it away under pressure, and that is caught at the 25. Abradaris, talked about him as the X factor. He dropped the first one thrown his way, but a couple of nice grabs since and a first down.
Pressure coming off the right side here as they continue to bring heat out of the secondary. That was Tony Jefferson that time. But as long as you're winning the one-on-one battles, and I think the Arizona Cardinals felt like, especially with Randall Cobb out, they should be able to win outside. They did not there.
12th play of the drive. Rodgers being chased and just throws that one into the ground. He was chased that time by Frosty Rucker. Second down and 10, and a late flag comes down on the near side of the field at the 18-yard line. So well away from the action.
Ineligible man downfield. Offense, number 71. A 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
And that's Josh Sitton. Back we go to Michelle now.
Yeah, the update on Randall Cobb is that he's in the x-ray room currently. It's a chest injury, Al, and he is questionable.
All right, thank you. Michelle, as the penalty is accepted. What do you want? You want a 1st and 15 or a 2nd and 10? What do you think?
2nd and 10.
Yeah,
if I've got Aaron Rodgers slinging it, maybe they feel better with Cobb being out. If you're wondering on that last one what happened, why Sitton was downfield, it was a screen pass left that didn't work.
And Rodgers fires, and that'll be caught at the 19-yard line, and that is Jeff Janis making the grab. So we're going to see a lot more of him as long as Cobb is back in the locker room. Second down and 4 now.
Just to put this in perspective, Jeff Janis has 2 catches for 79 yards, both of those in week 6. So they are down a bit at the wide receiver position.
Second and 4, Rodgers chased, throws off the back foot, and incomplete, out of bounds. Abradaris was down there, but Rodgers throwing it away. It'll be 3rd down and 4.
Well, they keep showing coverage with these safeties like Tony Jefferson, number 22. Looks like he's in coverage here, and then he's going to end up blitzing. So they're delaying and then coming late, and it's giving Rodgers some problems.
So the receivers are the veteran Jones. You got Janis, Abradaris, and Devontae Adams, who had a good game last week, was hurt. So he is inactive tonight. 3rd down and 4. Rodgers, look out from behind. Off balance, fires. Intercepted at the goal line by Patrick Peterson. Flag is down, and Peterson might go all the way, and he will for the moment, pending the penalty. Patrick Peterson.
He's going to get a taunting call.
Another flag at the end.
He's going to get a taunting call. He pointed at James Starks before he got to the end zone.
Well, you saw that flag come in. Let's see about the first one.
Is it possible that Peterson stepped out of bounds?
Among other things. So it would be a 100-yard interception return. Will be what after we hear from Blakeman? Blakeman's got to go all the way downfield to get the other call, which we know is the taunting call. That's that one. But what was the first flag? Might be an offensive holding call on Green Bay. And then what about how often do you see flags like 90 yards apart?
Not often. Bakhtiari is really having a tough time out there. Freeney gave him a little bit of a spin move, fooled him, and then I think Bakhtiari held him after that.
There are fouls against both teams on the play. Unsportsmanlike conduct against the defensive team, number 21. That penalty be declined. Prior to the interception, early use of hands to the face, defense. Number 92, it's a 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Well, that's Frosty Rucker. Arian said, what?
Here we go, right there. Frosty Rucker on TJ Lang. Right at the tail end of that, he ended up coming up into the face that time of Brian Balaga, and it took away this. Patrick Peterson has been locked up on James Jones the entire game, and boy, what a change of events that was.
Well, originally it looked like maybe Bakhtiari was holding, but that was not the call. It was on Rucker. So this never took place, at least officially. And now you got the 14th play of the drive coming for the first down at the 12-yard line.
There it is. Better look right up underneath the face mask. Wow. Instead of 14-0, here we go.
So this will be the 14th play of this drive, which began back at the Green Bay 5. Eddie Lacy is now the back. And he goes nowhere. He's taken down by Buchanan. With 12:40 to go in the first half, it'll be 2nd and 10.
You know, it's almost hard to believe that a guy that weighs 210 pounds can come in here and make the kind of plays that he has made at linebacker. He is the Cardinals' leading tackler, 127 tackles this year on a reluctant linebacker who really, and his parents didn't even want him to play in there. They thought it was too dangerous.
6'1" and 211. Rodgers coming out of the pocket, and he'll be taken down. That's Bethel coming up to stop him at the 11-yard line. So you'll have a 3rd down and 8 now for Green Bay.
Well, one of the problems, come up and try and tackle Aaron Rodgers, get with a little stiff arm action, but anytime that you rush just 4 guys, Rodgers not going to wait on you. He's going up and through wherever that gap is, and then it's game on.
Third and 8, they got Jones split wide to the left. You got Lacy flanking Rodgers in the backfield. And Rodgers fires, saying that is incomplete. Jeff Janis was the intended receiver, so it looked like it was 14-0. Then all of a sudden 2 fouls on Arizona. Now they've held them to a field goal attempt.
And working on Justin Bethel one more time. But there you go. There's the issue. You've got a quarterback that has completed 2 passes to a wide receiver, and he just had no idea the angle that he was going to take coming out of that break. And you can see the frustration already.
28-yard attempt, Mason Crosby. And he picks up the Packers' first points of the night. 11:22 remaining in the opening half. It's Arizona 7 and Green Bay 3. Defense finally gets a breather here. Frosty Rucker checking it out. They were on the field for half of the quarter. Let's go back to a call that was not made here. This is Bakhtiari trying to fend off Freeney. That's on the interception. So a flag comes in just about at that point, but it had nothing to do with that. The flag was hands to the face, and this is a clear call right here against Rucker on Balaga. Then you had the taunting foul down the field. So there went your 100-yard interception return, but they held him to a field goal, and it's 7-3.
Now, what was interesting was that Bakhtiari kind of went back, and he was the one that hit Aaron Rodgers, and you can see Bruce Arians. So you got to be kidding me.
So that drive consuming half, the equivalent of a quarter, at 7 minutes and 31 seconds as they run off 17 plays. And J.J. Nelson with the touchback.
This game has been wild so far. It doesn't feel 7-3, does it?
No.
Bakhtiari hanging in there, you know, coming back after being out for 3 games with that ankle injury. They've been rotating guys through. You can even see just as he walks across the sideline there, still a little bit of a limp as he comes out there, but his team desperately needs him. They didn't have any answers for Dwight Freeney and company last time they played without him.
Palmer starts this drive from the 20-yard line, play fake, and then has that batted down at the line of scrimmage. 2nd down and 10.
Ted Larson had a tough time the last time these two teams met. And here's LaTroy Guion, who really has played, I think, his best football over the past 5 games. He has been sensational. Suspended the first 3, but walking Larson back into Carson Palmer there.
2nd down and 10. Palmer won the Heisman Trophy at USC under Pete Carroll in 2002. Hangs in the pocket, fires, and at the 39, that's caught and then driven out of bounds, but he was able to get in. Is John Brown. Morgan Burnett was there to pop him as he caught it. Gets his feet in, 1st down.
If you play receiver in the National Football League, you have to make this play. Got those feet down. He could see out of the corner of his eye Morgan Burnett, a big safety, coming down at him, maintained his concentration, held on to the ball. And there's the guy they call Smokey because he is so fast. They have so much speed on this team. One of the fastest guys at the combine his year, and they showed a little guts to go along with it.
Played his college ball in Kansas at Pittsburgh State from the 39 now, and Johnson runs head first into the center of the line. Guion, and Chris just talking about him, stops him in his tracks. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, and going against one of the best run blocking guards that there is in football there, Mike Upati. And Guion just stoned him right back and then came off to make the tackle. You don't move Upati back very often at all, and that was something.
That's the perfect verb for that. Stoned him.
Yep.
2nd and 10. 10 minutes to the half. Look out from behind, and Palmer gets wrapped up and taken down, and that is Julius Peppers still doing his thing in his advancing 30s, 14th year in the league.
It was so interesting talking to Mike McCarthy. He thought that they could get after Jared Valdir, who I think everybody would say is their best offensive lineman, but I think he just thinks Julius Peppers is so good, leads his team with 10.5 sacks despite his advanced age, and he put one of those stones on Carson Palmer.
3rd down and 18. Cardinals go empty, which they do more than any team in the league. And Palmer able to get out of trouble and then fire, and that's caught. Brown makes the catch, but he'll be stopped about 3 yards shy of the 1st down. Micah Hyde is there for the tackle, 4th down.
One of the things that almost all the Packers were disappointed with the last time was that they got so many of these one-on-one matchups.
And that is Micah Hyde in on that last tackle and needs the attention. 2016 NHL All-Star Weekend coming up. Nashville is the site. It all begins on NBCSN Friday, January the 29th. So Abbrederis is back to return the kick from Butler because Cobb's in the locker room and Hyde was hurt in the last play, and those are the only 2 guys who returned kicks this year. So they have to send Abbrederis back, and he makes the fair catch at the 12-yard line. Here's Aaron Rodgers by month this year. It's like the stock market of late, and then a little dead cat bounce in December and January. Very unlike Rodgers in terms of his numbers. Pretty much the same thing in passer rating. He is the highest in the history of the NFL in terms of lifetime. But you said it at the beginning, Chris, and I thought it was very interesting too. When we talked to him last night, I thought he was going to talk about this season as kind of disappointing the way things work. But you mentioned that he actually said it was one of the more satisfying years because of the way the team has stuck together. Lacy is the tailback here from the 13-yard line. And he goes nowhere. Very interesting year. We said up and down, off and on for the Green Bay Packers. Looked like they were headed for a Super Bowl at 6-0, and then all of a sudden that loss in Denver, 3 losses in a row, and ever since then back and forth.
And it set up the formula really, which was man-to-man coverage on their wide receivers, bring pressure, force these offensive linemen in one-on-one situations. And that's really what happened to their season. It kind of fell apart once people started playing that.
That's Kuhn making the catch, and it will be 3rd down, 3rd and 5. So with Cobb in the locker room and Adams inactive tonight, you've got only 3 wide receivers, Jones, Janis, and Abradaris. And there is Jordy Nelson, of course, who was hurt in preseason, underwent surgery, and he'll be back next year. And obviously they're hoping that he'll be good as ever. Boy, they miss him. 3rd and 5. 4-man rush. And Rodgers sprinting away, throws, and it's caught along the sideline, and that's Richard Rodgers, the tight end, able to move the sticks on a 3rd and 5, 1st down.
Aaron Rodgers is no fool. He starts to see those good players. You got Dwight Freeney and Calais Campbell on his left side, and as soon as that ball was caught, he started moving out of the pocket to that right side. They are intentionally going to move Aaron Rodgers a little bit more in this game maybe than you've seen in the past.
A little over 7 minutes to go in the half. And Lacy up to the 35-yard line. So the thing with Lacy, when he comes into camp this year, everybody says, oh, he's overweight and he doesn't get off to a good start, and then he misses curfew, and they deactivate him for a game against Detroit. Then he comes back after that and has 300-yard games in 4 outings. He's had, better seasons along the way, but came on a bit at the end.
But that was a heavy run right there. He broke that initial tackle and picked up 6.
2nd and 4. Had a big game last week, did Lacy in Washington. Catch is made. Abradaris is able to pick up the 1st down before he's bumped out by Bethel. 1st down.
Speaking of picking up, I think Randall Cobb's assignments are now being taken by Jared Abradaris. Here's the old, we call it Green Bay sweep with NBC, where they used to have the Green Bay sweep doing it one way, and now they do it with wide receivers and tight ends.
Rodgers is 10 of 17 for 78 yards. Out of the pistol with a high snap, and Lacy gets it to the 41. We go to Michelle.
Well, Randall Cobb has officially been ruled out of this game. Again, earlier they told us it was a chest injury. He went back for x-rays, came out of the x-ray room without his shoulder pads, was driven back to the locker room, and now we're told he is officially out, guys.
All right, thank you, Michelle Hurt, on that play, which was negated by penalties. So they lose their top receiver and a guy who might have been coming out of the backfield a dozen times. He lined up in the backfield 10 times last week against the Redskins. The line is doing a nice job here, and Lacy makes the catch, and then he's taken down. That's a nice tackle, about 4 yards shy of the 1st down by Josh Morrow. 3rd and 5.
The other thing, Al, that we really have not talked about was just what a factor that Randall Cobb was with the versatility of this offense. Lined up at running back, they could move him around. Depending on what you did with defense, they could go power run or put him out wide and play 3 wide receivers. All those options off the table now.
Very significant loss. 3rd down and 5 from the 46-yard line. fires, caught over the middle, another first down. Abradaris. So an inglorious beginning to the night as Abradaris drops the first pass thrown his way, but since then he's been key. That's 4 catches for 55 yards. That's good for 18.
And think of the New England Patriots receivers. Elite quickness sometimes can be just as good as elite speed. And one of the things that really impressed Aaron Rodgers about Abradaris, and we saw it on that 2-point conversion against Washington last week, he has some strange little moves out there. And speaking of that, now Justin Bethel, one of the top corners, so outside people on both teams going down.
So Bethel will need to come off. You had the 4 active wide receivers tonight with Adams not active, and now Cobb is out. So Jones caught 50 this year. Abradaris caught 9 all year long. He started the season on the practice squad. He was hurt. It was tough for him to get healthy, but he's the main guy right now. He's caught 4, and Janis with only a couple.
Mike McCarthy saying that Abradaris is one of those guys that is always where you expect him to be, and that means a lot to Aaron Rodgers.
First down at the 36. 4 minutes to the half. Rodgers deep drop and a deep throw, and it is too long and out of the end zone. Jeff Janis, the intended receiver, powers with him all the way. Second down.
Already we're seeing a little bit of what happened to Washington's pass rush a week ago, that when you get this up tempo going, your pass rush tends to get tired and they are not as effective. Again, because they've had a couple of long drives now and they can't get substitutes in the game. Now this offense is starting to flow even though they don't have all their wideouts.
Cardinals get Bethel back in the game after missing a play. It's now second down and 10. Send Lacy out to the wing. And Rodgers fires, caught at the 31-yard line by Jeff Janis, tackled by Bethel. And that will set up a 3rd and 4.
And Jeff Janis, a guy that had a 70-yard kickoff return against the Vikings, 4.42 speed, so plenty of speed out there. He's a nice alternative. But sometimes, Al, when you get into these sub packages here and 3rd down and all this sort of specialty stuff, that's when a Randall Cobb really was such a huge factor. Let's see who picks it up.
3rd and 4 from the 30. Rodgers fires, and that is another first down as he hits Jeff Janis to the 23-yard line. Working on Bethel. He makes the tackle. First down at the 24.
You're going to end up seeing that. Excuse me, it was on the outside. You're going to end up seeing that all night long. It was the same thing that when these two teams played, about a month ago. It didn't matter who the receiver was. It mattered that it was Justin Bethel.
Another long drive for Green Bay. This will be their 12th play. And in the backfield, that tackle is made as Jefferson sprints in from his safety spot to take him down. 3 weeks ago, Rodgers couldn't get enough of going at Bethel. Targeted him 14 times, completed 7. But Bethel did have that 1 pick.
And that was the huge play in the game. It was 10-0. Mike Daniels had just made an interception. It looked like it was going to be 10-7 at the half. And Justin Bethel came up with an interception of Aaron Rodgers in the end zone. And from then on, it was all Arizona.
This drive began back at the Green Bay 13. 2nd and 11. Rodgers again has time, and that is caught along the sideline, and that is Janis again, and that's another first down. And when they wind the clock, that's going to take us to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to the half. Arizona 7, Green Bay marching with 3. Toyota halftime coming up. Dan, Tony, and Rodney talking about what to expect in the second half. Patriots win, beat Kansas City, headed to their 5th straight AFC Championship game. A look ahead to tomorrow's games coming up on the Toyota halftime. Oh, and a spelling bee when we get the point. 2 minutes to the half. First down, Green Bay from the 12-yard line. As this long drive continues, this is the 14th play. And Rodgers to Starks. and he can go nowhere. He's tackled at the 16. You know, Chris, you look at time of possession now, very much in Green Bay's favor. Arizona has 75 total yards in the half, a team that had over 400 yards per game this season.
And this game is going exactly like the Washington game went. You know, I mean, they couldn't get anything going on offense in the first quarter, and then bang, 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 3 straight great quarters. I think 5 straight scoring drives, something like that. But you can see what it does to a defense. Fatigue is definitely a factor now with this pass rush, not nearly as lively.
This will be Green Bay's 37th play. Arizona's run 22. 2nd and 14. Rodgers, after looking toward Jones, flushed out and throws that one out of the back of the end zone. So it'll be 3rd down and 14. Dwight Freeney forced the Rodgers escape.
Well, they stay with the man coverage. The play prior to this, they actually doubled and tried to help Bethel a little bit. On the other side, Patrick Peterson, and I doubt they're going to go that way very often at all. So that means it kind of becomes a 2-man game now. It's either Jeff Janis or Jared Aberderis for Aaron Rodgers, and so far it's been working. Here's one where you don't want to make the big mistake, and I'm sure Justin Bethel is going to get some help over on that side of the field.
3rd and 14. And Rodgers takes a timeout. 7-3. NFL flag football is fun and competitive. Go to playfootball.com today to find a league near you. It's the memorial to Pat Tillman outside the stadium, the late Cardinal.
It's too bad that statue is not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah. So Rodgers after the timeout, 3rd down and 14 now. Will they go Bethel's way again?
Look out, screen draw here. Don't want to take a huge chance. Need at least 3.
All out blitz, and it's out of the back of the end zone. Aberderis. So that's one of the few times that Arizona has brought the house, and Green Bay sends in the field goal group.
There he is, going to work down the back of the end zone. Just a matter of how long could the protection hold up. Sometimes when you have to make that 3rd move as a wide receiver, if you're doing it against pressure, you're just not going to get the ball. This guy's been pretty good this year, huh?
Very. Had that one bad year in 12. Apart from that, outstanding career. 34-yarder, and that's right down the middle. But they're held to 3 after a 16, make it a 17-play, 8-minute drive. 7-6. Divisional playoff game brought to you by the Kia Sorrento, built for football families. By Batman versus Superman from Warner Brothers Pictures in theaters March 25th. By Miller Lite, the original light beer, it's Miller time. And by Microsoft Surface, the official tablet of the NFL. Well, everybody knows Curly Lambeau. It's Lambeau Field, of course, named for Curly. But then he resigned there in 1950 and coached the Chicago Cardinals for a couple of years. And everybody thinks Green Bay was an original franchise. They weren't. They came in 1 year after the NFL was founded. The Cardinals were an original franchise. Founded in 1920, Chicago, then to St. Louis for a number of years, and then to Arizona in 1988. Man of the Year, Patrick Peterson's Foundation for Success provides resources for inner city kids to reach their full potential. He's the Cardinals nominee for the Walter Payton Man of the Year, presented by Nationwide, which will be awarded Super Bowl weekend during the 5th annual NFL Honors. And there he is, 5 years in the league, 5 Pro Bowls.
Almost the Man of the Year in this one, too, although it would have been called back with the taunting. But the 2 big plays in this game, of course, Peterson's interception return that did not count, and then had the same thing with Cobb's catch down the field that ended up knocking him out of the game.
So with 57 ticks, they have all of their timeouts. Can the Cardinals, who have 75 total yards, get something going? And that is juggled and incomplete. Very dangerous. Michael Floyd, who has scored the only touchdown in the game, incomplete, 2nd and 10.
This one gets away, and this is dangerous when this thing starts getting tipped around a little bit. especially the way that Clinton-Dix has been playing. Boy, what a game he had last week. That goal line stand down there, made 3 or 4 plays that really turned that football game around against Washington.
Outstanding this year, especially in the second half of the year. Green Bay is going to get the ball to start the second half, so let's see if the Cardinals can at least get into field goal range, and that is not likely to happen now. Mike Daniels is there for the sack. 3rd sack. That timeout taken by Green Bay with 42 seconds. Packers on the road, and they're illustrious history postseason play. 11 road wins. No other team has more. Lombardi, and Lambeau, and Holmgren, and all the way down the line. The Cardinals have played only 4 postseason games at home in 95 years. Meanwhile, in this situation, on 3rd and 18, Green Bay can't stop the clock. So if Arizona runs a play, they can let the clock run all the way out. Green Bay's going to get the ball. What do you think they're going to do here, Chris?
You have to run it here.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, you don't.
There's no way you can take a chance on an incomplete pass, right?
I don't think so. Well, they're going to run it here. And this is Johnson. That's going to make it 4th down, and they'll just let the clock run out. So the Arizona Cardinals are limited to 75 yards on 25 plays. This is the #1 offense in the league in terms of yardage, and Dom Capers' group does a great job. Meanwhile, the offense, they had those 2 long drives, but had to settle for a pair of field goals.
Yeah, and don't forget, this Cardinal offense struggled against Seattle in the season finale. I wonder if there's any kind of hangover from that.
Appears to be, at least in the first half of the night. 7-6 is our halftime score in Glendale. Coming up next, Toyota halftime after these messages from your NBC station.
First half highlights are brought to you by Nationwide, official sponsor of the NFL.
Palmer to the back corner of the end zone, and it is caught for the touchdown. That's how you do it, buddy. Look out from behind. Palmer gets wrapped up and taken down, and that is Julius Peppers.
Nationwide is on your side.
Second half, some salient information to this point with the score 7-6 Arizona. Aaron Rodgers, his numbers there, leading them on 2 long drives, both resulting in field goals. Has not been sacked once. He was sacked 8 times in the game here 3 weeks ago. That Cardinal offense, which has averaged over 200 yards per half this season, only 75 yards. Randall Cobb, their #1 receiver, out with a chest injury, so he is gone for the night. The winner tonight advancing to the championship game next week. If the Panthers win, it will be in Charlotte. If the Seahawks win, the Seahawks cannot host, so the Seahawks would go either here or to Green Bay. That's what's at stake. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya. Ready now for the second half. Chandler Catanzaro to kick off. And you've got Jeff Janis, who caught 4 passes from Rodgers in the first half, back to receive. 3rd quarter underway with a touchback.
Well, if you watched the first half, you knew what the key was. Justin Bethel, they went after him a lot early in this game and had success. Double move on the backside. Bruce Arians saying don't worry about that back shoulder throw, but if you took a chance on the other side against Patrick Peterson, you could have paid the ultimate price here. The interception returned and was called back, so would anticipate seeing a whole lot more throws Justin Bethel way, and let's see now how James Betcher, their defensive coordinator, might adjust and see if he gets some help.
Well, Betcher's had Peterson on Jones all night. That's why Jones hasn't caught a pass, and the only time he was targeted was that one time when Peterson had that pick that was negated by the penalty. Lacy to the outside, and he gets wrapped up before the line of scrimmage, and we go to Michelle.
Well, with wide receiver Randall out for the game, Mike McCarthy was in a hurry to get to the locker room and make adjustments. He said he wants to mix in more running plays, as he did just there, and he also said they'll be making some big changes in terms of personnel groupings. On defense, safety Micah Hyde suffered a hip injury in the first half. He is questionable, Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. Keep an eye on their defense when they come out to see if Hyde does indeed come. As Rodgers fires over the middle, and that is caught by the tight end Richard Rodgers up at the 35-yard line for a first down.
And he just wondered how soon he was going to be worked into the mix here, because there really just isn't anybody else. And of course, Richard Rodgers remembered for that big Hail Mary catch against Detroit that jump-started the season for the Packers.
From the 35. Kuhn in at fullback. And Rodgers. Good protection, but look out, and it's picked off at the 47-yard line. Underthrown, maybe tipped, and it is intercepted by Rashad Johnson. Tried to get it to Abradaris, and Arizona with the big takeaway.
Well, there was the help we were talking about, but let's also take a look here and see if maybe Calais Campbell, I believe that was, got a hand on that football. And there goes Rashad Johnson coming down with it, but he ran underneath. And that was Rod Powers who took the deep phase of it, and it was Rashad Johnson underneath to come up with a pick. 6'8" of Calais Campbell made that play.
And so the Cardinals, whose only scoring drive started in Packer territory, they have another drive that begins at the Green Bay 47. David Johnson is the running back, and he will be taken down by Clay Matthews, who leaves no doubt about it, and no running game at all tonight for the Cardinals at this point.
For either team so far to this point. And remember coming out of this game, Al, what the story was? Clay Matthews hadn't had a tackle in 2 games, and there he goes. And now he looks like he's shaken up a bit.
So a different story tonight. And there's Matthews, for years an outside linebacker. Then he moved inside last year. The acquisition of Julius Peppers enabled that to happen. And Randall is the injured Packer. Randall, the rookie out of Arizona State, had to come off the field. Quentin Rollins comes in, another rookie. Those two guys are drafted first and second. And Randall appears ready to come back in, has to be out for at least a play. Second down and 11. Blitz coming, pass deep downfield, and that's incomplete. Good coverage there. The intended receiver was John Brown. And the coverage was good. Joe Thomas put the heat on. It's third down and 11.
It's like a different defense. It really is. When you think you can play man-to-man coverage on the back end of this thing with Sam Shields, you take chances. You're blitzing. For Dom Capers, this looks like an entirely different defensive plan than what we've seen probably for the past, whatever it's been, 4 weeks that Sam Shields has been out. He has been what has led to the pressure from the Green Bay Packers here tonight.
Third and 11. Palmer 8 of 15 for only 74 yards. And he goes into double coverage, and that will be picked off there by Clinton-Dix. Double coverage on the intended receiver. Clinton-Dix with the interception. Green Bay gets the takeaway. All right, so Clete Blakeman just said the previous play is under review because it is a turnover, so it's automatically reviewed. Take a look. The ball hits the ground, but it doesn't move. So the question is, he has it. He takes it to the ground. The ball touches the ground. He controls it. But even if they overturn this, it's still going to be fourth down, and Arizona's going to punt anyway.
I didn't see it move. It can touch the ground. It just can't move once it does. Elbow down, so that's not an issue.
So they check it out. Blakeman in communication with Gotham City. And as I say, it would be fourth down, and they'd wind up pooch punting it if it gets overturned.
Well, it was a wonderfully designed play there On the part of Dom Capers, watch what they're going to do. Bring both blitzes and then bring Morgan Burnett down here to this hot read and then take Clinton-Dix over the top when the hot read wasn't there. And so Carson Palmer, you don't get to the third look at whatever that is. And he just made a big mistake.
After review of the play, the ruling on the field stands as called. First down, Green Bay.
So the way they looked at it, the ball didn't move despite it hitting the ground. Dom Capers, and Dom, the head coach of the Carolina Panthers when they were born, the head coach of the Houston Texans when they were born, but he's really found his niche with Mike McCarthy for the last several seasons as the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, and the defense has carried this team for some time now.
Green Bay begins this drive from the 19-yard line. The swing pass to Lacy, and he gets taken down. It's a good open field tackle by Tony Jefferson. Well, last year it was Todd Bowles who was the defensive coordinator, and he was good enough to get the head coaching job with the Jets. And then James Betcher, who'd been a position coach, winds up as the defensive coordinator. One thing that both guys do, they blitz a lot. But tonight, the protection for Rodgers has been outstanding. And a big hole here for Lacy, and then he falls down, but gets up and gets the first down out to the 33-yard line. Went in behind the left guard, sitting. So down he went, but untouched, and picks up the first down. That's a gain of 14 for him.
Like Rodney Gunner, the nose tackle went this way, and it's going to allow TJ Lang to get over the top of him. He goes to the ground, and there simply is nobody backside. So many big runs happen when there's somebody on the ground on the backside of them.
31-yard line. Give it to Lacy again. And Lacy off to the races again. Busting tackles inside the 30. And he'll get ridden down after he sets up a first and goal at the 7-yard line. Rashad Johnson saving the touchdown. That's 62 yards.
Marcus Golden's going to come up and just play up to Aaron Rodgers a bit, so there was no backside pursuit whatsoever. And then Eddie Lacy getting it going. Both these running backs late in the game got it going against Washington as the defense wore down, and you can see that same thing starting to happen here.
They give him 61 officially. Starks is now in the backfield. Lacy gets a breather. First and goal. Toss it to Starks. Bottled up line of scrimmage. Stinson in on the stop. It'll be second down and goal.
And we have seen when John Kuhn comes in the game that it makes a difference for this team. Josh Sitton was talking about what a difference and what in 5-second conversations Sitton, TJ Lang, John Kuhn, and Aaron Rodgers can get done on the field, make late adjustments. When he's in there, we've heard Aaron Rodgers, right, in meetings come in, say, I wish they played John Kuhn all the time in the backfield. It just helps us.
Kuhn the fullback, Starks the tailback. Rodgers comes into the slot on the right side, and Aaron Rodgers looking back the other way. Secondary doing a great job, obviously, and throws it into no man's land. It'll be third down and goal.
That was a great scramble that time by Rodgers. What he didn't see in the back of the end zone, I believe that was James Jones, who came open very late. That was Rashad Johnson chasing him and fell down, sort of coming back. Had a chance for it right there. Just came off of it a little too soon.
Third and goal. Rodgers takes a timeout. Malaga with a good block on Minter, helping to set up that long run, the second longest in postseason history by a Green Bay Packer.
Malaga number 75, who's had his share of injuries, and anytime you see a middle linebacker go flying, It's usually a good sign. And then Eddie Lacy, who has been much better of late. Well, he's one of those guys, you see that 240-plus pound guy come running down the field at you. There aren't a lot of defensive backs lining up to hit him.
Mentioned the second longest in Packer postseason history. The longest run, James Lofton, who's in the ballpark tonight doing
the little radio.
Was a wide receiver, of course, Hall of Fame. But he had the longest run ever in postseason for Green Bay, 71 yards.
And I think the Packers have really hit on a formula with this up-pace scale. Now they've come out and run the ball a little bit. But this offensive line looks tremendous now that they're back in one piece and one unit.
What a difference from 3 weeks ago. 3rd and goal. Play clock at 2. Blitz coming. Rodgers escapes and then fires on the run, and it is caught. Janis, touchdown. Jeff Janis, and it's what Rodgers has done for almost his entire career. Just extends it, looks like he's going to get sacked, spins away, doesn't matter whether it's left or right, on the move, touchdown.
Just take a look at how much time Aaron Rodgers is able to eat up, and as a defensive back, there's nothing you can do. He's going to start to run, so the defensive backs have got to come up and play him first. Never in his mind did he ever think about running this. He was looking for receivers everywhere, and Jeff Janis, who I remind you came into this with 2 catches on the season. Go figure. Yep. Welcome to the playoffs.
He's caught 5 tonight. That's his first career touchdown. And Crosby now for the extra point. So it starts with a Clinton-Dix interception. They go 81 yards, 6 plays, and for the first time in the game, the Packers have the lead, 13-7. Barrington's dedication to community service can be seen in his support of programs for children in need. He is the Packers nominee for the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award, presented by Nationwide, awarded Super Bowl weekend during the 5th annual NFL Honors. Sam would have been a starting linebacker and was injured opening day in Chicago this year. Ankle injury, gone for the year, injured reserve. And there was Sam on the Packers sideline tonight.
And they've been shuffling all year trying to replace him.
Short kick. It's going to be run back from the 5 by J.J. Nelson, the speed burner, but he cannot get on track. Big drive coming up here for Arizona. You know, it's so funny because we see this all the time. Last week we do Minnesota-Seattle, and Seattle killed them during the regular season, and then Minnesota, of course, could have won the game with the 27-yard field goal. Same thing happening tonight.
Well, and you're seeing, we've talked about the offensive line, we've talked about Aaron Rodgers, but really defensively the Packers have started to dominate. It's a completely different plan. They're attacking, they're blitzing, they're playing man coverage. The Cardinals, I believe, only have 5 first downs to date right now in this ball game, so that is not a recipe for success.
And averaging 2.6 yards per play. And here's Fitzgerald, and he can only get to the 19, tackled by Randall, and we go to Michelle.
Well, I spoke to Bruce Arians at halftime, and he said the opportunities on offense have been there. It's a matter of receivers running better routes, Palmer throwing better passes, and converting 3rd downs. 2 of 8 on 3rd down so far in this game, Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. They barely had the ball because Green Bay had those 2 17-play drives, and in between there was a 3 and out for Arizona. So Green Bay ran 34 of 37 plays at one juncture. Now the pass down the sideline, and that's Fitzgerald, and Fitzgerald hauling it in with Randall covering. He had him blanketed, but Fitz was right there to make the grab, a big one.
You want to know how to stop the blitz? You run by their secondary guys. They've been up in their face, playing bump and run, playing man-to-man. You get Fitzgerald involved early, you throw him a quick little screen, and then he comes back with a big one over the top.
Good for 32 yards. His 3rd catch of the night. Palmer, 10 of 18 for 110 yards. Play clock at 1. And they're going to get it for delay of game.
delay a game. Offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
1st and 15. So Rodgers with 142 through the air, and Palmer with 110. 32 of those coming on that last play, and sacked 3 times. Rodgers has remained clean.
You get hit, any quarterback gets hit, it's going to get their attention. And for Carson Palmer, he had just 25 sacks on the year. So he has not been hit much. By comparison, Rodgers had 46.
4-man rush, caught over the middle. He goes to the tight end. First time that Darren Fells has been targeted, and now you got a flag coming in at the end of the play. In fact, a couple of them with B.J. Raji, the guilty party.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense, number 90, 15-yard penalty from the end of the run, first down, Arizona.
Give Raji credit for hustling back, but you certainly can't do this. Going to put his full body weight, and we hear defensive linemen talk all the time about dropping the weight on the guy that you tackle, but you can't do it that late.
It's dropping 337 pounds on the man.
At least.
Fells himself is at 281. Ball to 27. Down to the ground, and nothing again. Johnson to the 26 has been so spectacular down the stretch here. Joe Thomas makes the tackle. 8 carries tonight for Johnson, 16 yards.
Well, and the other part about it, Al, remember how dominant David Johnson was in that first game as a receiver, getting him out of the backfield? They have not been able to get him out, and I think in part because of all the pressure. They've found ways to squeeze him in and make him block, and really taking him out of this ball game.
He had a 44-yard catch and run in that game in which he broke 5 Packer tackles. Off the fake, Palmer over the middle, Fitzgerald! First and goal, takes it to the 6-yard line. Casey Hayward makes the tackle, so 2 big catches for number 11.
Well, and what happens here is that they're expecting help. So you get this outside technique by the part of Casey Hayward, and they're expecting Clay Matthews to drop underneath that ball. But Larry Fitzgerald got on the other side of Clay Matthews, and there was nobody there.
Drive began back at their own 16-yard line. Fitzgerald set wide to the right. End around, Brown, flag down. And Brown for the moment goes out of bounds at the 3. And now you got another flag as well. Seems like every penalty tonight has created another flag. Could be on Fitzgerald. Let's see.
He came back on a crackback block and went right to the head. Kind of looks like a shoulder.
Mm-hmm. Knocked down Morgan Burnett, and you see the flag coming in. Burnett says, come on, call it. I mean, he does lead with his shoulder.
Personal foul, illegal blindside block, offense, number 11. It's a 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Still first down.
Well, the old Hines Ward rule comes into play here. You're not allowed to go lateral or back towards your own goal line. I guess that's what they considered. Once you go up top to the head there, that's a foul. So Larry Fitzgerald, you can see he was down around that 5-yard line, I believe it was,
right,
and started coming back towards his own end zone, and that's what created the foul. Once you go to the head or neck area, it doesn't really matter. Elbow, shoulder, helmet, whatever.
6.5 left in the quarter. That takes it to the 20. First and goal from the 20. Fitzgerald now in the slot to the left. And Palmer throws underneath. That's about a 4-yard gain to David Johnson, who gets taken down by Jake Ryan. Second and goal from the 16.
Yeah, and Jake Ryan was one of those victimized by David Johnson. So typically when he's been in the ball game, they've been a little bit more of a zone defense. If they come in with Joe Thomas, and, Micah Hyde went out, then they end up playing maybe a little bit more man than that. But now a little padding in here with the ball at the 15-yard line.
Ryan sprints off the field. J.J. Nelson is in the game.
Joe Thomas in there now, a little bit more of the coverage linebacker.
Packers still running guys in and out. Dayton Jones arriving late. There could be 12 guys on the field for the Packers. Guys running off and on. Second and goal from the 15 it was. So trying to get the right defense in.
And that's what happens when you have guys hurt. You don't know who the next guy is in. You know, when everybody's healthy, you go, okay, yeah, if we're in this package, I'm playing. But when somebody's out, then it gets confusing on the sideline.
12 men on the field when the snap was imminent. Defense. It's a 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
See, there's Jones coming in. So Ryan had sprinted off. And so it remains second and goal now from the 10-yard line. Floyd, Jerron Brown, and Fitzgerald all set to the right side.
There they go spread. Here comes the pressure. Clay Matthews on the edge.
5 receivers. Palmer steps up, throws, and that's incomplete. Trying to hit David Johnson over the middle, and it will be third down and goal.
Not only did they came up with 4 on the line of scrimmage, and then they dropped Julius Peppers out. There's David Johnson. He was a wide receiver when he first got to college. Just misconnecting there. Julius Peppers on the other side, dropping back in coverage. Let's see if they do that again or opt for pressure this time. Anytime you go spread, you kind of invite pressure, but when there's 10 yards to go, it looks like a little bit more of a zone look here.
Spread it again, same formation. 5 wide.
Peppers drops again.
Palmer throws, and it's too high and almost picked off. Intended for Johnson and almost intercepted by Shields in the end zone. So fourth and goal. In comes the field goal group.
Boy, that may well have been a touchdown right there. Just going to run the out over here. And with that zone defense, remember Shields let one get behind him before. He was backed about 3 yards into the end zone. If Johnson caught that ball, likely he scores. That one got away from Carson Palmer high again.
28-yard field goal attempt. Catanzaro missed only 3 field goals this year. He missed 5 extra points. And this one is good to tighten it up with 5:05 to go in the third. 13-10 Packers. This divisional playoff game being brought to you by Southwest. Transparency. Low fares, nothing to hide. By Bose, music deserves Bose. By McDonald's, celebrating the NFL playoffs with all-day breakfast. And by Toyota, let's go places. And we send our congratulations to the Desert Edge Scorpions, Arizona Interscholastic Association Division III state champs. Well, getting down to crunch time.
Yep, they're going to have to play the run better than they did last time, so a long drive might help freshen them up a bit, though.
There's Lamar Woodley, the former Pittsburgh Steelers linebacker. Troops stirred up. Jeff Janis to run it back, and through the middle he goes.
Keep this running game going. Boy, it takes a lot of pressure off that offensive line.
There are the numbers. A tale of 2 confrontations, 2 games 3 weeks apart. Huge difference. Pack up by 3 here. Give it to Lacy. Tries to thread his way through the right side. Rodney Gunter makes the tackle. Gain of 2, second down and 8.
Well, I tell you, the playoffs, you just never know what you're going to get, do you? Who would have ever figured in this war of attrition that it's going to come down to Jeff Janis and Jared Abbrederis making plays in the passing game for Aaron Rodgers. Going against Justin Bethel.
And that defense will make the Cardinals look very mortal. And Rodgers, who was sacked 8 times the last time, has stayed clean. Second down and 8, and they get a flag before the snap.
False start. Offense, number 30. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
John Kuhn, the fullback. Let's go back to that injury on Cobb. Their number 1 receiver all year. He made this fantastic catch, which was called back, but paid the price as he hit the ground here. Chest injury. Out he came at that point, and done for the night.
I think he saw a little blood being coughed up there, and correctly so. They got him to the locker room to take care of him.
2nd and 13. Rodgers clapping his hands. Play clock at 1. Going deep downfield and over the top of the head of Abradaris, covered by Powers. Incomplete. 3rd down and 13.
Well, Patrick Peterson has basically taken James Jones, the #1 receiver, away, but they are playing more zone coverage now than man. An adjustment going both ways here. And don't forget that Alex Okafor got hurt in some swimming pool accident over the weekend, last weekend, and he's one of their top pass rushers. He's not available here today.
Jones has been blanked tonight. 6 different Packers have caught passes. He's not one of them. 3rd and 13. Rodgers time, then he shoots it underneath to Richard Rodgers, and he gets tackled at the 35-yard line. So a very short gain, 4th down. Arizona holds a 3 and out.
And the zone defense holds. Dayon Buchanan, who plays defensive back when he got here, now is a linebacker. Watch him come up and make this stick. Open field tackle against Richard Rodgers. That's exactly what you want out of your linebacker play. Fantastic stop.
Tim Mastay to punt. Patrick Peterson back to receive it. Mastay to the far side of the field. It's a pretty short kick that gets spotted out of bounds at the 31-yard line. Only 34 yards. The race for the FedEx Cup continues from Honolulu. It's the final round of the Open in Hawaii tomorrow, 5:30 Eastern on Golf Channel. Downtown Phoenix. Indoor arena there, home of the Phoenix Suns. Baseball stadium down there. Hockey arena for the Coyotes. Football stadium out here in Glendale. Palmer stepping up in the pocket. Fires. That is caught by Larry Fitzgerald. Another key grab for number 11 to the 46-yard line. So Fitzgerald with 2 big catches on the last drive. This one good for 22.
They're starting to stack Larry Fitzgerald in behind John Brown so that the release off the line of scrimmage is a little bit easier. Get him running down the field and then let that veteran experience take over. And now how many times have we seen it with Larry Fitzgerald? When everything's on the line in the biggest playoff moments, this guy delivers.
And that ball was moving, and I think McCarthy's going to challenge this. So McCarthy now, he put the flag down. And Blakeman says, what do you want to challenge here?
Green Bay is challenging the ruling on the field of a completed catch.
All right, he became a runner is the question. Going to be very close. Let's go back. When is he a runner? All right. Ball is moving around. So is he a runner before the ball goes out of bounds? Looks like it.
Well, he definitely was turning up the field. One of the problems you've got is, as a wide receiver, you've got to understand if you're going to the ground, there is always a danger. You don't want to reach out with that ball there, but I think clearly he was trying to move the ball forward. Of course, remember in the Packers game against the Dallas Cowboys, there were some people that thought that he was extending the ball forward and taking a second act. So
is he a runner before he goes to the ground?
He was never contacted.
And Larry's looking at the replay saying, what are they challenging here?
But
it'd be good for him. This would cost Green Bay a timeout.
He definitely had the ball in his hands and was turning up the field, but was he going to the ground the entire way as part of the catch, or did he somehow stumble and fall as a runner? So at some point here, oh boy, I don't want to be on that committee. You know, you get so trained to, you've got to take it all the way to the ground. That one's close.
Well, if this stands, it cost McCarthy a timeout. That's big because they had to use a timeout prior. They'd have one for the last 17 minutes of the game. Here's Blakeman.
After the review, the ruling on the field stands as called. First down, Arizona.
And you saw what Larry Fitzgerald just said. They have one timeout now.
Right.
He's right on it.
On top of it. So with 2:21 to go in the third, you're down to one timeout in a 3-point game.
Boy, how many games this year have been decided on is it a catch or not a catch?
Bringing back Red Cashin. First down.
Oh, boy, what a game this is. Everything's going on in this game.
From the 47-yard line. 2:20 to go in the third. To the ground. And again, nothing happening up front. David Johnson stopped after a gain of 2 yards, second down and 8.
And Mike McCarthy really challenged this defensive line. He felt like they got whipped when these two teams got together the last time. And sort of the main instigator is this guy right up there. Mike Daniels is a guy that his mom was a tough farm girl, said never any excuses, never allowed to be sick. He couldn't miss school. He couldn't miss practice. His grandfather was a cop in Camden, New Jersey, and bankruptcy lawyer. He comes from a tough family.
Went to school at Iowa.
Look out, there he is.
Look out. Throws. Fitzgerald makes the catch, but gets tackled immediately. Hayward, there's a flag down. Pressure put on. Blakeman ready to make the call. Green Bay's been penalized 6 times tonight. Arizona 3.
You can't push off down the field.
Prior to the pass, holding defense, number 42. The 5-yard penalty from the previous spot, automatic first down.
Arizona this year, fewest yards penalized, and their opponents most yards. That's a pretty good combination.
Boy, this pressure is really ratcheting up now. They are bringing the heat, and Julius Peppers has just missed a few times. I mean, just missed.
At the 40-yard line. Rotation on the left side of the defense. 2-yard gain. David Johnson, the great-looking rookie, but they've stuffed him down. He's a triplet. It goes girl, him, girls. He's the man in the middle.
He's been the man for a long time here for the Arizona Cardinals. You know, when they lost Chris Johnson, for him to step in and basically be the #1 rusher in the NFL during the last, whatever it was, 5 games that he was playing. He has been something special for them. 658 total yards from scrimmage. Excellent receiver, excellent runner.
You saw Chris Johnson, who got hurt a few weeks ago, caught by Johnson here, and David Johnson, who supplants Chris when Chris got hurt, as a first down at the 28-yard line. I tell you, a great thing for Chris Johnson would be, because he had to go on that designated to return injured reserve, he could come back for the Super Bowl. And Seattle, hello Malcolm Butler. At the 28 as we start the fourth, Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, and Michelle Tafoya, and we begin with a pass to John Brown, who takes it to the 9. It'll be first down and goal. Jake Ryan makes the tackle.
I'll tell you what's really interesting is that now they're starting to play a lot more zone. You get Demarius Randall running out against the speedster, and there's just nobody out there. They have not played this zone nearly as well as what they were playing the man-to-man coverage, although a couple of Fitzgerald catches against that man-to-man coverage may have gotten Don Capers out of that.
Opening minute of the fourth quarter. Ball spotted at the 10, a first and goal. Good play action fake. Pass to the end zone is going to be picked off. Intended for Brown, and Demarius Randall intercepts it. It floated, it hung, it's short, and Green Bay dodges a big bullet.
No other way to say it, just a terrible throw. You're going to get pressure here. He's going to do a fadeaway jumper here across the field against tight coverage. Morgan Burnett was in his face, and you just can't do that. Carson Palmer's been doing this way too long. He doesn't even turn his body, throws a balloon up there, and that's just terrible. He hasn't won a playoff game, and in that situation, chance to at least tie it, and you can see the agony on Carson Palmer's face. That was bad.
Only the third playoff game of his career as Green Bay takes over at the 20-yard line. And the defense has to dig in. You got Starks up to the 21-yard line. 2nd and 9. For what it's worth, the 13-3 record this year. So when the Cardinals lead or are tied at the end of the third quarter, undefeated. When they trailed at the end of the third, there were your 3 losses.
Carson Palmer has to get his act back together right now. So much on the line for him personally. You know his finger's not quite right, but he's made some really poor decisions in this game, and he hasn't done that all season.
2nd and 9 from the 21. Rodgers sliding left, throws, making the catch as he spins his way out of bounds is Richard Rodgers, the tight end, first down. Gain of 11. Look at that. Cobb goes out, didn't catch one. Adams inactive. Jones no catches. Abradaris started the year in the practice squad, and Janis caught 2 all during the regular season. Has 5 tonight.
Between Janis and Abradaris, they had 11 catches on the year coming in. About match that total tonight.
And off to Starks. He's got room to roam, and that's a 9-yard gain up to the 41-yard line. Tony Jefferson makes the tackle. 2nd and 1.
Well, it's these inside zone runs now that are just making such a difference. And here's one of the best guards in football, Josh Sitton, making that block.
Bring in the fullback, Kuhn, and give it to him. And they serenade him as he picks up a first down at the 44-yard line.
You know, that was a shot right to the gut, that interception. And now for the Arizona Cardinals on defense, it's as stunning for them as it is for Carson Palmer. And they have to make a play here. They just cannot let another one of these long, drawn-out drives happen to them.
And they've already started by giving up 2 first downs on the drive that started at the 20. Starks, he'll bottle him up. Falls forward for a yard, maybe 2. 2nd and 9.
That's a nice play by Ed Stinson coming off the backside. He just beat, I think that was Balaga, across his face. And here we go. You see Stinson just fly off the line of scrimmage, and no way for Balaga working on that bad ankle to get there.
Second down from the 43. Rodgers surveying. Stepping away from trouble. Deep downfield, and nothing happening down there. James Jones wearing the hoodie indoors, covered by Patrick Peterson. 3rd and 10.
James Jones against Washington did a little in cut and then went deep and caught a big pass in that game, but Patrick Peterson not fooled. A guy who overcame diabetes, and what a difference it's made for him this year. He has been one of the great lockdown corners in all of football. Nobody, even the biggest star receivers of the game, have had success against him this year.
3rd and 10. Crowd sensing the importance of a stop here. Pressure put on. Pass is caught. Is he tackled is the question by Rodgers, and they're going to let him go down to the 22-yard line and spot the ball down there, and Green Bay now wants to get up to the line of scrimmage and snap it before a challenge is possible. Arians down on the field, and Arians flings that challenge flag as far as he can.
I don't even think it's a catch, and there was contact, so he wouldn't be able to get up and run no matter what.
Right, so you had a questionable call to begin with, and then Arians came about 10 yards out on the field and threw a fastball down the middle.
So the officials aren't sure, clearly incomplete, so they let the play go.
Arizona is challenging the ruling on the field of a completed catch and whether the receiver was down by contact.
He'll win this. This is a no-brainer. It'll be 4th down.
After review of the play, the ruling on the field has changed. The ball hit the ground and it is an incomplete pass. Arizona will not be charged with a timeout. It brings up 4th down. Please put 11 minutes and 1 second. 11:01 on the game clock. 11:01.
So it comes back to the Green Bay 43 to make it 4th down and 10. That's as easy an overturn as we've ever seen.
And the only impact it could have is if Bruce Arians had to challenge again and were wrong, then he would effectively be out of challenges at that point.
Correct.
You know, you've got Patrick Peterson back there, a guy that has returned 4 punts for touchdowns when he was a rookie. None since then, but always dangerous.
Here's Mastay's punt, sky high, into the roof, and fair caught at the 20-yard line by Patrick Peterson.
Well, let's take a look at Carson Palmer's night. He came in as one of the hottest quarterbacks going early on. Let that one sail over the head. David Johnson, I thought, had a chance for a touchdown. That one sailed on him. Maybe this finger has been a bit of a problem, but this just a mental mistake. There's no way of saying that any other way. And for Carson Palmer, you know how much this playoff game means to him. He has not won one, 0 for 2. And he has had some heartbreaking moments in the playoffs to date.
And that would always be his but on the career resume. Running back in the game is Andre Ellington, flanking Palmer. And Ellington doesn't even turn around. He's covered there by Matthews. So Ellington comes into the game. He is the target and doesn't even look back. 2nd and 10.
Well, and it looked like they were kind of trying to work a pick play here with Darren Fells, and I don't know why he didn't run through Clay Matthews. Watch this at the top end. You can't really see it there, but they're trying to work Ellington down the field. But I think when Ellington saw the pick didn't happen, he said, well, Carson's not going to throw that, but he did anyway.
Not the greatest way to start a drive. 2nd down and 10 at the 20. And Palmer fires, and that's caught up at the 40-yard line by John Brown, just over the outstretched reach of a Green Bay defender. Gain of 21 yards here.
Jake Ryan was deep and right underneath that, and I thought he had it. Let's watch him right out here. He is going to be right in line with the throw, and it just goes over his outstretched fingertips, and maybe that's the one that gets Carson Palmer going.
Up to the 41, gain of 21. A little over 10 minutes to go in the 4th. They give it to Ellington. He can't even get out of the backfield. It's Nick Perry stuffing him. Most regular season starts without a postseason win. Jim Hart, another Cardinal. John Hadel, Norm Snead, Carson Palmer on that list, and Roman Gabriel. 0-2 in the playoffs, 157. So some pretty good quarterbacks, but blanked in the playoffs. It's a list he'd like to get off of in a hurry. 2nd down and 13. And Palmer fires to the outside. Fitzgerald turns it upfield, and Larry Fitzgerald trying to get that 1st down and reaches for it, and it's going to be very, very close. They'll spot it right there, and it might even be close enough for a measurement. Got away from Randall. It'll either be 3rd down and an inch or a 1st down, and they're going to bring in the change.
That was awesome. He's just playing his own defense, so you just check it down to Larry Fitzgerald and let him do his magic. Watch the old guy dance here. Carson Palmer, why not? He's been the one that's hot. Now there's a couple guys coming up on him. Make them all miss and almost get it. I think they're going to mark it back a bit, don't you, where that knee first hit.
Yep.
Right there before he gets the last lunge.
The official sticks are on the other side of the field, so they're bringing those over right now. March the 53 1/3 yards, and he's going to get it. Half a link is better than none.
Yep. sure Mike McCarthy wasn't crazy about that spot, but sitting there with one timeout.
Yeah, that's the hardest challenge to win to begin with. You start talking about millimeters. Good luck. Now David Johnson comes back in. The ball is spotted at the 49-yard line of Green Bay. Palmer 18 of 30. 229 yards, 1 TD, and 2 interceptions. Now Johnson. Gain of a couple. Pinnell makes the tackles. Johnson tonight limited to about 2 yards per carry, and his longest rush is 8 yards.
You know, I know it sounds crazy. You haven't been doing anything, but sometimes late in the fourth quarter when the running game has been completely blanked, you keep hammering it as those defensive linemen get tired, you end up popping something.
Palmer sends it to the outside, and that's taken by the tight end Fells, tackled by Clinton-Dix, and a big third down coming up, 3rd down and 4.
I'm no genius, but I think I'd be looking towards number 11, Larry Fitzgerald, see what he can do. You know, you're down to, this is playoff time. This is when everything's on the line. Who do you want with the ball in his hands? One of the great catchers of the ball in the history of this league. And there you go, right down there.
Outside, on the right side. Now they're going to move him inside to the slot. And Palmer's going to throw underneath, and that's going to be caught by Michael Floyd. And Floyd is taken out of bounds, gets the first down at the 34-yard line. Michael Floyd, who caught that touchdown pass to give Arizona an early lead tonight.
Well, there was plenty of traffic. He had to come all the way across the field. Double team on the slot receiver. I think that was John Brown. And nothing for Michael Floyd. So for everything that has gone wrong, that was a great play by Carson Palmer. Offensive line held up. He was able to pull it down, double pump, and pick up that first down.
Palmer under pressure all night. Rarely has had a totally clean pocket. Johnson. And Johnson able to break one to the 26-yard line, equaling his longest run of the night, 8 yards, tackled there by Ryan.
Got a good double team over here, and watch the block by the center, Lyle Sinline. Just going to take B.J. Raji and take him right to the ground. And there's one of those runs that have been smacking your head in there and gaining a yard and gaining 2 yards. And now here we are in the fourth quarter, and you pick up 8.
2nd and 2. A little over 6 minutes to go. And Johnson's going to get stuffed. Can't even get to the line of scrimmage. That's B.J. Raji clogging it up. Loss of 3. 3rd and 5.
B.J. Raji did not like that last result. Here he goes right there. He's going to go right between the double team block, and I don't know what that would feel like for David Johnson, but to see, that's a lot of man to be sitting there squared up in that hole.
So it's 3rd and 5. If they don't get another yard here, you would be looking at a 46-yard field goal attempt to tie the game. Clock running down to 5.5 to go. Play clock at 2. Palmer firing, coming back, making the catch at the 18 is John Brown. Dayton Jones can only hold his head. After he goes to the ground, does Brown to make the catch, first down.
It has been that position, the linebacker position, that they've wanted to pick on. Runs a little quick out here against Joe Thomas. In the first game it was Jake Ryan, and then on the other side, Larry Fitzgerald was left all alone for a walk-in first down. And he was like, oh shoot, if you hadn't thrown me that one and we didn't pick it up.
Cardinals living on the edge, converting on another 3rd down. Ball at the 19. Good play fake. Fired by almost picked again. Sam Shields almost had it.
Wow.
Woo. 2nd and 10.
I don't believe that throw. You're going against their number one guy in Sam Shields. He's got Floyd completely blanketed, and you're not going to catch that guy if he had caught that ball. Oh my goodness. And Carson Palmer, as hard as it is right now, you have got to keep firing. And for Sam Shields, he may have just dropped the game.
2nd and 10. You've heard of the year of living dangerously. This is the game of living very dangerously as Palmer sets up, comes out, surveying, throws to the back of the end zone, and Fitzgerald can't make the catch. Back corner of the end zone. Reached up, couldn't pull it in. 3rd and 10.
He was thinking so hard about his feet getting down, he just didn't quite jump high enough for it. Larry Fitzgerald can jump out of the gym, but he was working his feet and really got no elevation on this jump whatsoever. You could see him. He was already working his feet, and the ball just sailed across, and he would have had those 2 feet down.
Don't get a yard here. You're looking at a 37-yard field goal. 3rd down and 10. 3 receivers set to the left. Palmer throws into traffic, and that's caught by Johnson, and Johnson's going to take the ball for what appears to be a first down. They're going to mark it again. You're going to have one of these measurements here. Blakeman comes in. He says, bring in the sticks. So it's going to be 4th and 2 inches or a first down. And then what is Arians going to do?
Working on Joe Thomas again, and what a catch in the clutch. This kid has been unbelievable. Where does he hit?
Again, the
that
officials,
right where his backside hits is the first thing. The hand is okay. You're not down there.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, boy. Well,
first down again by less than a link. What do you think Arians? Well, Arians, he would have had to kick the field goal there, right?
With Bruce Arians, you want to try and predict what Bruce Arians would have done? Oh my, what a play. That is such a hard catch. And once again, going after that second inside linebacker of the Green Bay Packers right there, wherever the ball was, right there.
And again, McCarthy could have challenged, but again, that's the hardest challenge to win. If you're talking about millimeters, forget about it.
And what must be going through Carson Palmer's mind? The last time he was down here, you've got to be a little gun shy at this point.
They're 3 for 3 on 3rd down on this drive. Ball at the 9. Palmer fires, and it's caught for the touchdown.
Get out of here.
Michael Floyd.
Oh, my goodness.
I'll tell you, for the Cardinals right now, you believe in divine intervention. How else do you describe this?
The ball is tipped by Demarius Randall. Looks like it's going to be intercepted by Casey Hayward. Instead, it's a touchdown to Michael Floyd. I have never seen anything like this game.
Well, big extra point here. Catanzaro, who's missed 5. This makes it a 4-point game. A big difference when Green Bay gets the ball back. Little drama here. And the kick is good. 3:44 remaining. Packers 1 timeout, plus the clock stops at the 2-minute warning. That's Aberderis, who starts in the backfield and then goes out to the left, and Rodgers throws underneath. Kuhn makes the catch and gets a little ride from the 210-pound Buchanan. Back to the touchdown we go.
You want a little more misery, Green Bay fans? Watch Jerron Brown. This is a foul. He's going to drive Casey Hayward all the way back to set up that pick. Not called. Touchdown, Cardinals.
To the ground, Lacy trying to spin his way out of traffic to the 25, and now it's going to be 3rd down, 3rd and 5.
Running the ball there, this clock keeps ticking, and so with only 1 timeout, decisions get harder. I think they would still punt it with the 2-minute warning, but it gets a lot more interesting.
I do too. 3rd down, long 5. Pressure, Pass to the outside is incomplete, intended for Danis.
That was close.
Yeah. Rodgers says, where's the flag? Coverage by Powers, no penalty.
Let's take a look. Did the contact happen? He's more than 1 yard down the field. The official was right there, although I don't think Danis would have completely missed the ball with his hands. I thought the contact was early.
Well, they're going to go for it, at least line up to go for it on 4th down and 5, 2:42. And they do snap it, throw it, no good.
He one-hopped it.
Yep. And Green Bay, I agreed with you. I thought they would punt it because now Arizona's already in field goal range. They can stop it once. Can Green Bay plus the 2-minute warning? Arizona takes over, 17-13. So it was 4th down. He goes to James Jones, who has not caught a pass all night long.
And goes against that guy, Patrick Peterson, who they have not had success with, and Aaron Rodgers one-hopped it right off the line.
And now it's all about, as the coaches like to say, ball security, because they're already in field goal range. They'll make Green Bay use its final timeout. Ball to the 22-yard line. Johnson takes it there. And now Green Bay
even if
uses the timeout.
Even if they kick the field goal, you're going to get it back with just over a minute here, right?
Well, yeah.
And you still were going to have to score a touchdown.
Correct. Without a timeout to tie the game.
Right.
Assuming you make the extra point.
Right.
Yeah.
Whoa.
More crazy stuff. Peterson goes down to the goal line.
It is far from over. I remind you of a Hail Mary against the Detroit Lions in a game that looked like it was over long before this one did. He can throw a Hail Mary as far as anybody, but that one hurt right there because I think he had James Jones open enough.
Well, this play can take you down to the 2-minute warning, assuming they don't pick up the first down. Ball to the 22-yard line. For Fitzgerald, what is that all about?
Wow.
And Sam Shields covers, and it's 3rd down and 8. I mean, you can take it to the 2-minute warning and then run off another 40 seconds.
You got great player on great player, and Sam Shields just drives Fitzgerald right into the ground, and Bruce Arians, a gutsy play caller, but I don't believe that one.
I'm with you, partner.
Wow.
Yeah. And McCarthy says, well, I'll take it. Thank you.
Because now.
And this is no chip shot field goal either. Now you got Johnson to the outside, trying to get around the corner. They're trying, but that'll keep the clock winding down to the 2-minute warning, but it's going to be 4th down.
You just gave Aaron Rodgers
of course,
a gift.
At least 40 more seconds.
Wow, 2 minutes with his season on the line, and here comes Aaron Rodgers.
So if they kick the field goal, you'll have about 1:54 left on the clock and a 7-point game. The first things first, the 2-minute warning. All right, final 2 minutes of regulation, 4th down. You're looking at right now about a 36-yard field goal attempt for Catanzaro. Julius Peppers is a guy who has blocked a dozen kicks in his career, and of course he is out on the field. So this would make it a 7-point game. Green Bay out of timeouts when they get it back.
Peppers, a former basketball player, can jump.
36-yard attempt. Hold is good. Kick is good. So 1 minute and 55 seconds left in regulation. And Aaron Rodgers, well, he's been here before and he's done it before.
Well, we've talked many times about the pressure of these kind of kicks. Snap, hold, and kick, all perfect that time. And now instead of about 1 minute and 15, 20 seconds.
Correct.
we are going to have the minute 55 to go try and see if they can tie this thing up or win it. Who knows? The way this thing's going, they'll probably go for 2 if they score a touchdown.
Well, you had Fitzgerald on that play. I mean, we were stunned at the play call because you want to use as much of the clock as you can. And the pass probably couldn't have been caught in bounds to begin with. Fitzgerald wanted a flag, got none. And that gives Green Bay the extra 35 or 40 seconds.
Yeah, that's one of those plays. If you don't like it as your Carson Palmer, then you just run up in the line of scrimmage and let that clock continue to run. If you don't love it, I should say.
Catanzaro's kick. And this is going to have a run back from the goal line. And good coverage just when they needed it. They sent Jerron Brown down there, one of their wideouts. Down the field, he sprinted to tackle him at the 14. Coming up after the game, Volkswagen post-game report. Michelle on the field. Stars of the game, Bob, Chris, and I will wrap up the game that comes up after the final whistle. Well, who advances? If Arizona holds on and wins, they would go to Carolina if the Panthers win, or Seattle would come here. If Green Bay wins the game, they would go to Carolina if they win, or host Seattle. Seattle cannot have a home game regardless. From the 14, Rodgers stepping back, throw in, and too high. And Aberdaris, the intended receiver, covered on the play on the outside by Gerard Powers. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
And for Mike McCarthy, who's taken over the play calling about a month or so ago, away from Tom Clements. Aaron Rodgers sitting in all the meetings this week. They knew exactly what they wanted to do. Now they just have to do it.
They go 4 wide here, 3 by 1 to the left side. Cardinals with a blitz, and Rodgers gets knocked down and taken down to the 3-yard line. Dwight Freeney making his presence felt again at the end of the game in a critical situation.
Dwight Freeney already won a game earlier this season against the Minnesota Vikings with this same exact spin move. That time he runs Bakhtiari into Aaron Rodgers, trips him up, and how about that?
Meanwhile, the clock still runs. 3rd and 20. We've only been seeing Freeney do that for 14 years. 3rd and 20 from the 4. Down to a minute to play. Rodgers dancing in the end zone. Looking. Sailing one deep. Praying. And it's incomplete. Intended for Janis, who looks around for a flag, and there is none. And the whole Green Bay bench is out of their mind. It's 4th down.
And was there contact here? That is pass interference. It is pass interference. He grabbed him. He turned the shoulders. Aaron Rodgers the whole way. He was moving right, but he was looking left. And Jeff Janis, because he hasn't been around Aaron Rodgers very much, sort of slowed down, but boy, that's tough.
Justin Bethel getting away with it. The Green Bay bench went wild, and Arizona takes a timeout. So it's 4th and 20, and it's the whole ball game for Green Bay to stay alive.
Wow. Well, we've seen one Hail Mary. There we go, right there. You're going to see that. Now does he, there's the grab. Now does he turn him? Or does he turn himself? That is pretty close. The hand was definitely there. Did he turn, or did Janis turn himself going back for the ball? I think you can make that argument. Let's take a look. Did Bethel turn? Wow.
Well, if you're a Green Bay fan, you're out of your mind.
Yeah. Well, especially when you pair it with the earlier touchdown and the Brown offensive interference.
And getting those 2 first downs by half a length. End of the game here if they don't get 20 yards. Here goes Rodgers again, all the way downfield, and it's going to be caught by Janis at the 35-yard line. How in the world against that defense do you get a guy free? So Janis is there, the clock keeps running. Rodgers says, let's spike it. They got to get him set. We're down under a half a minute. That's 61 yards on a 4th and 20. 27 seconds.
They're going to run a play.
Yeah, they're going to run it. Rodgers.
They didn't get set.
No, they didn't get set. The flag is down, so they didn't get set.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't. And whatever happens there, and there's going to be a 10-second runoff as well here. So Rodgers went up to try to spike it. Then he wanted to run a play. Richard Rodgers wasn't set. The guy who was the big hero in the Hail Mary against Detroit. He doesn't get set. Here's Blakeman.
Illegal motion, offense number 82. It's a 5-yard penalty, but there's no 10-second runoff. Still first down.
So no 10-second runoff in this particular instance.
I think they should have shut the play down. There's motion, isn't there?
Right.
Oh, my goodness.
It's a live ball foul, which was the reason that there wasn't a runoff on that. So you got 12 seconds. And so it's first down and 15. And now you got the play is stopped before because of a timeout taken by Arizona.
Arizona takes its second timeout. This is the 30-second timeout.
They didn't shut the play down to go back to the prior play. So the ball was alive, which is the reason there was no runoff. But Rodgers was up there to try to spike it and instead wanted to run a play. And that takes the clock down. They put an extra second back on, so there's 12 seconds remaining.
Well, regardless, there was so much time wasted there by not taking the spike. The down meant nothing at that point because of where the clock was. So by trying to get the play off, there was confusion. You get the offsides, and you end up with just 12 seconds to go.
Right. He said it took him 20 seconds to get down the field after a 61-yard catch.
Just like out of the end zone, you're going to see Rodgers buy time, probably moving around one way or another if he wants the Hail Mary, maybe one before that.
They send him all the way back to the 40. He's trying to get his feet set. Now he throws and just has to save whatever vestiges remain on the clock. 5 seconds.
Well, and here's what has to happen, and you go all the way back to Doug Flutie days. Anytime you've got a Hail Mary, you have to give your receivers time to get into the end zone. So the quarterback has to buy some time. He has to move around for a little while and then set up the deep throw. And the great thing that Aaron Rodgers did on that Hail Mary against Detroit was to throw it so high it gave Richard Rodgers a chance to go straight vertical and go get it. I would rush the edge and not allow Aaron Rodgers to get outside the pocket here.
You saw the Cardinals moving around defensively trying to get set, and they called a timeout. I mean, you had a whole bunch of defenders saying, you go here, and they had to call a timeout.
Completely not set. The other thing that I always thought should be an option here is to try and jam up these receivers and let those pass rushers go, because if they don't get to the end zone, your receivers, there's no play.
We'll go to the Hail Mary against Detroit. This ended the game on a Thursday night.
68 yards in the air, and I'm telling you, that ball was sky high.
And Richard Rodgers made the catch.
And what Richard Rodgers did was he was outside the end zone and backpedaled into it, which gave him perfect position to make that play and save their season.
Second down, forget the 15. It's all about 5 seconds.
They're going to bring pressure.
Well, they did the last time, too, which I thought was pretty smart. They got Rodgers backpedaling. He resets Starks. They are going to bring pressure again. Rodgers is going to roll away, throws it up in the air, says a prayer, and Janis does it.
Stop it!
Oh, please!
What a catch!
That's insane!
Oh my, that may be one of the great throws ever made. Moving to his left, falling away, and launching a perfect throw.
That's insane. Now go back. Of course, we have to watch this again. Did he have control? They look at it. It's a scoring play. Is it a catch? Ball is bouncing around on his chest.
Oh.
Ooh. That was Peterson behind him. Johnson comes in. Johnson got his hand on the ball.
And then once he's in the end zone, then there was a late punch out there. I think he had control for a moment. And then it was Rashad Johnson. Is there control right there? And now Rashad Johnson comes in and punches it out. That's the way I would see that. Look at this throw.
Unbelievable.
Completely falling away, pressure in his face, and he launches. This is insane.
Yeah, Janis got permission. There's a lot of discussion going on in New York right now. Back with the result. Wow. I can't believe it. The verdict.
After review of the play, the ruling on the field stands as called. It is a touchdown.
So Jeff Janis makes it 20-19, and now Mason Crosby has all of the pressure. Does he send it to overtime? One of the best kickers in the league. Rick Lovato snapping it. Tim Mastay holding it. Perfect. To tie the game.
On the year.
And it's tied at 20-20. Jeff Janis, 2 catches last year, 2 catches this year in the regular season, and tonight 7 for 145 yards, a 60-yard catch on a 4th and 20, and a 41-yard catch for a touchdown.
I mean, Jeff Janis is on the backside of this. He really is not even involved. Reacts back to the football. Patrick Peterson, who's been flawless all year, but watch this throw. I cannot believe that he got that into the end zone.
That's a play you call in a street game.
There aren't a handful of quarterbacks in the history of the National Football League that are athletic enough to make that turn, that pivot, and strong enough armed to get it into the end zone. And they have a chance to win 2 games on plays just like that. This is insane.
And he was pressured by Marcus Golden. Now you're going to get Blakeman bringing the guys out. You got the coin toss. You know how this works. Team that receives scores a touchdown, game over. A field goal or less, the other team gets it. And we play on. And unlike the regular season, this game cannot end in a tie. We can be here until a week from Tuesday.
Okay, gentlemen, overtime in the postseason. We will continue to play until we determine a winner. Both teams are going to have an opportunity to possess the ball unless the first team on offense scores a touchdown or there's a defensive score. Each team's going to have 3 timeouts per half, and all replays are going to be handled upstairs. Good? Okay. Again, the shield side is heads, the T side is tails. The shield is heads, the T side is tails. Green Bay, visiting team, it's your choice. Tails is the call. Tails is the call.
We want the ball.
Yeah, we want the ball. No, it didn't flip. It didn't flip. It didn't flip. It didn't flip. Here we go.
I'm going to flip.
Tails is the call.
Please, you can't make any of this
up.
up.
It is heads. You want the ball. Which way you want to kick? Okay, flip around.
So wait a second. It didn't flip.
One's a toss.
The coin went up and didn't flip, and so they had to re-flip it. Come on now. How long you been doing this?
I'm going to flip right now.
This is nuts.
Again, the overtime rules. Each team the opportunity to possess the ball unless the team receiving the kickoff, in this case Arizona, scores a touchdown. Anything less, the ball will at least be taken by Green Bay for a possession. If they're tied after 1 possession each, the next score wins. Unlike the regular season, game cannot end in a tie. In the regular season, each team gets 2 timeouts, but because this is like the start of a new game and a half, you get 3 timeouts. So Crosby to put the ball in the air. And Nelson will take it and take a knee in the end zone. Now, you talk about having cameras everywhere. When have you ever seen this? We have a camera on the coin. And you heard what the guy said. It didn't flip, and it didn't flip.
I've seen pizzas flip more than that.
Yes.
What is that? He couldn't do that again if he tried it 100 times and not have it flip once.
You can't.
Really perceptive, though, by Aaron Rodgers to recognize that and immediately call for
all the Packers did. Kuhn was out there. Matthews.
Kuhn was laughing by the end of it.
So now Arizona from the 20-yard line. Blitz coming. Matthews. Palmer stepping away at first. Palmer extending the play.
Nobody there.
Crosses the field. Larry Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald is going to take it into Green Bay territory. Larry Fitzgerald inside the 30. The 20.
If he scores, it's over.
It's insane to the 4-yard line. One of the greatest postseason performers ever. His 08 postseason was one for the ages. So what happens here? 75 yards, first and goal.
As great as it was by Fitzgerald, it may be better by Carson Palmer. Watch this. Escape somehow finds Fitzgerald across the field to set this entire thing up. And this was a huge tackle at the end because if Fitzgerald scores, it's over. Great play by Casey Hayward to give him a chance. And with what we've seen around the goal line from Arizona, who knows?
Meanwhile, the play clock all the way down, and so Arizona will have to take a timeout. Took everybody through all the excitement and everything and having to go 75 yards to get down there. Go back to see what Fitzgerald did to get free.
Well, he's going to come all the way across the field, but because all the scrambling was happening, and the idea that Carson Palmer, who is not known for his mobility, not in the least, look at that stiff arm by Morgan Burnett, could scramble around and then somehow find Larry Fitzgerald. Runs into Bobby Massey. I've seen everything.
Oh, yeah.
I have seen everything.
That's 7 catches for Larry Fitzgerald, 171 yards. First and goal from the 5. David Johnson is the running back. Fitzgerald set to the right. He's going to go to Fitz again. Incomplete. That time Sam Shields covering, second down and goal.
But they are also flying the safety over the top. Clinton-Dix is flying over the top to Larry Fitzgerald. Somebody has to get that in there to Carson Palmer. You have got to be really careful now. They are not going to let Fitzgerald beat him down here on the goal line.
John Brown sets up on the left side. Much tighter formation this time out of the shotgun. Brown is the motion man. Little flip to Fitzgerald. He scores! And the Cardinals win an amazing game. That gang was one for the ages. Begin to write the story of this one.
Shovel pass, motion here, pull in front, and simply up in between. A very old-fashioned play that a very old-fashioned play caller, Bruce Arians, came up with at the perfect time. And who better than Larry Fitzgerald, who simply took over this football game. Carson Palmer on the scramble. They lose Larry Fitzgerald, and here you go. I just can't believe what I'm seeing out of this ball game. Al, come on, you've been doing this a long time. You've seen anything like it?
No, this is, as I said, this is one for the books here. In so many ways, there's so many plays, and it ends with number 11 going into the end zone. Arizona moves on. Green Bay goes home. Post game next.